It's spooky season, and if you're looking for some books to read this Halloween, I have my recommendations for you. Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to discuss 5 books that I think have the spooky vibes you might be looking for this time of year. These 5 books are going to include creepy thrillers, gothic mysteries, and unnerving classics. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in, then this could be the recommendation list for you. Keep watching to hear my Halloween book recommendations, and let me know some of your favorite spooky season books down in the comments below so I can check them out. My first recommendation in today's video is going to be The Whisper Man by Alex North. This is a mystery thriller that definitely delivered those creepy vibes you might be looking for this time of year. This book follows a father named Tom who, after the death of his wife, is moving to a new town with his son Jake. Many years ago, young boys in this town were killed by a serial killer who was known as the Whisper Man. He earned this nickname because he would lure children out of their homes by coming to whisper at their bedroom window. And if that doesn't freak you out, like, I don't know what will. Just the thought of someone coming up to my window and like whispering to me, oh, that just gives me the heebie-jeebies. It sounds terrifying. Though the Whisper Man has seemingly been caught and imprisoned, other boys start dying very similar deaths after Tom and Jake move to this town, and when Jake begins hearing someone at his window, it seems like he may be the next victim. This book definitely freaked me out a little bit when I read it. Granted, I also decided to read this book, I believe, when I was home alone, which was probably a mistake. And I mean like home alone as in my mother had left the country and I was at the house alone for a week. So maybe reading this book was not a smart choice, especially before I went to bed, because it was freaking me out a little, I'm not gonna lie. I believe I gave The Whisper Man 4 stars. I think this book would make a great October read because if you're a scaredy cat like me, the thought of someone coming up to your window and whispering to you to lure you to your death, oh, that's just, that's a no for me. I would rather die than have that happen to me. And it's really scary to think about when you're home alone with no one to protect you or hear you scream. Another mystery thriller that totally freaked me out while I was reading it is The Other People by CJ Tudor. If you want a creepy mystery thriller to read during this time of year, I think this one would be a great choice as well. This is also another thriller that involves children, so I don't know if that makes them more terrifying. The main character in this book is a man named Gabe, and a few years ago, Gabe was driving home when he saw a girl that looked just like his daughter, Izzy, in the car in front of him. The girl looked right at him and mouthed "Daddy" before the driver sped off, and Gabe never saw them again. When Gabe got home that night, he found out that his wife had been murdered and Izzy was presumed dead as well. Now, years later, even though everyone else has given up hope, Gabe is still constantly combing the roads, hoping to find his daughter alive. We also follow 2 other characters, Fran and Alice. Fran and Alice are currently trying to escape a group referred to only as the Other People. Fran is the only one who knows what happened to Gabe's daughter, but if the other people catch her, it will mean certain death. I think this book is definitely ominous with this big shadowy group looming over the story. You know, who exactly are the other people? What do they want with Fran and Alice? What do they have to do with Gabe's daughter? And I think just the concept of being constantly on the run and fearing for your life is so scary. You know, I as a reader often imagine what I would do if I was in the character's situation, and if I was Fran, I would be absolutely terrified. This thriller also has a bit of a paranormal / supernatural element to it, where we see very early on in the book that Alice has some unnatural abilities, and there is a plot element involving dreams that maybe aren't actually dreams, and so that definitely adds to the spooky vibes of the book. Paranormal elements in thrillers are not my personal favorite, but this book definitely delivered. What did I just say? This book definitely delivers the creep factor, so I think it would make a great Halloween read, especially if you're not opposed to some supernatural elements in an otherwise realistic book. Next, I'm going to recommend a book, or more accurately, a novella that I actually read very recently. It's a book that I read for my Library Picks My Books vlog. That's Carmela by Sheridan Lefanu. This is a Victorian era novella following a young woman named Laura. Laura is an English woman, but her and her father currently live in a remote castle in, I believe it's Austria, with very few neighbors around and only 2 servants for company. One night, a carriage is wrecked outside their castle, and Laura and her father take in a strange young woman named Carmela. Laura and Carmela develop a close relationship, but there might be more to Carmela than really appears. Does she have sinister motivations? This book does deal with supernatural elements. I'll be vague here just to avoid any potential spoilers, but if you know, you know. This book is famous for one particular thing. It basically reintroduced a, let's say, trope to the English literary canon decades before a more famous work of literature did so. If you know, you know. And because of that, I think it would make a great Halloween read, since Halloween is all about monsters and spooky things. This book also has some sapphic undercurrents to it, so if that's your thing, you know, that's another thing that it has going for it. Carmela is only a little over 100 pages long, so it is a pretty easy read, and though some Victorian era books have archaic language, or, you know, the authors just are in love with run-on sentences with 64 commas, I felt like Sheridan Lefanu's language was easy to understand. In my personal opinion, I never struggled to understand what was happening. I read this entire story in, I think, 2 sittings, so it definitely was a fast read that I think would be a great choice for your Halloween TBR. Hell, you could probably read the entire thing on Halloween night while you're waiting for trick-or-treaters if you're a fast enough reader. Next, I'm going to recommend The Shape of Darkness by Laura Purcell. This is a historical mystery that has sort of a Gothic tone to it, and the reason I think this would make a great Halloween read is because it involves seances, and that just screams Halloween in my opinion. One of the main characters is a silhouette artist named Agnes. She is living in Victorian-era Bath, and the dawning new technology called photography is making it harder for her to keep her business afloat. Murders start happening around Bath, and all of the victims are people who recently came to Agnes to have their silhouette done. Agnes wonders who is killing these people and why are they seemingly targeting people going to her business. Another main character we follow is a young girl named Pearl. Pearl lives with her sister, and she hosts seances where Pearl is allegedly the psychic medium. Agnes ends up going to Pearl for help finding the murderer, and the book kind of plays with that question of, does Pearl actually have supernatural gifts or not? That's something that's kind of teased, you know, are ghosts real? Can she actually see ghosts, or is it all a hoax? This book has that sinister Gothic atmosphere that I think might work for a Halloween read. It has a little bit of that, is it supernatural or is it not question throughout, and I just think this book could deliver those vibes that you might be looking for this time of year. This is another highly recommended book for me. I quite enjoyed it, and I'm definitely going to read more Laura Purcell in the future. I know she really is just like the queen of these modern Gothic vibes. Well, I should say modern as in she's writing in modern times. Most of her books, I believe, are set in the past, but you know, she's like a modern Gothic author. And finally, would this really be a Halloween book recommendations video if we didn't reference Edgar Allan Poe, the king of mystery and horror? You could definitely pick up a copy of the Essential Tales and Poems, and also his work should be in the public domain, so just go to Project Gutenberg and you should be able to read whatever Poe stories or poems you want. I personally am a fan of Poe. Maybe I should have worn the Poe t-shirt that my dad bought me for this video today. And he has so many mysterious and terrifying short stories. You could read the entire collection or just pick a few to read while you're curled up on your couch on Halloween night. Some stories that I remember particularly enjoying are The Telltale Heart, The Black Cat, and The Cask of Amontillado, which I think might be my favorite, though all three of those I remember really liking. I also love the poem Annabel Lee, which is a very creepy love story, so I would recommend those four in particular, but you could also read the entire collection. So everyone, I hope these spooky season inspired book recommendations have helped you pick out your Halloween read this year. Are there any other good, eerie, creepy Gothic books that you want to recommend? Definitely drop them down in the comment section so I can give them a look. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching this video today, and I hope you have a terrifyingly good rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.